Alright, my project is titled Time Management Amongst College Students. So the major topics of the article that I read involved student time use, which was broken up into subcategories, the classification of time use, the observed behaviors of first and second semester college students, and some limiting factors towards their how they performed academically, and then those students' self-academic regulation. So the results of their observed behaviors. It also included some classification of the students, and then the three phases of self-regulated learning. The classification of time use included scholarly uses of time, which was preparing for class and studying, active uses of time, like exercise, socializing, clubs, and volunteering, passive uses of time, so commuting, watching TV, and computer entertainment, connecting uses of time, which was student clubs and working for a salary, and then separating uses of time, like religious activities and family time. So I'm sure most people can fit into two or three of those categories at least. Some of the observed behaviors of first and second year college students reflected that most students spent more time socializing and working than on their academics, because you're fresh into college, so you still want to do more like high school kind of things. A majority of those students pledged to be more academically involved in their second semester. And another observed behavior is that most students spent less than 10 hours studying on average during the first semester. Some limiting factors towards that academic performance would be that some students have part-time jobs. A lot of students lacked the proper preparation and expectation for the college experience. A lot of students had involvement in outside activities like clubs and a job and volunteer work and things like that. And then a lot of students said that their preparation, like workshops in high school that would show them how to be more prepared for college, were just lacking. They didn't feel like those workshops were as good as they could have been. So the results of these observed behaviors showed that students who were less academically focused on their first semester pledged to be more so during their second semester. Students also pledged to study a lot more. They chose to dedicate more time to school than on their part-time jobs and planning for their future careers. And they began to seek more efficient methods of learning and retaining information and self-regulating. So like planning and scheduling and things like that. So students can be classified in one of two ways. They're either campus-centered, so they attend lectures and seminars, they study frequently, they get their homework done, and they get their homework done. And then they're either campus-centered or they're work-centered, so they have a job, they have sports and extracurriculars, they go to clubs, and they socialize more often. The three phases of self-regulated learning involve learning strategies, so cognitive academic methods, comfortable study environments, so like a quiet library or your dorm room or things like that, setting long-term goals and then rewarding yourself for achieving those goals, and then being properly introduced to the dangers of procrastination. So like being prepared ahead of time so that you don't find yourself easily distracted. Goal setting, so long-term goals produce motivation. So the size of a goal correlates with the size of the motivation to get that goal accomplished. So if you have a small goal, like reward yourself, do your dishes and then your dishes are done, or get all A's on your tests, and then you'll have the energy to study, do your homework and assignments on time and things like that. And then setting strong and achievable short-term goals can build experience and confidence so that you can begin to set more long-term and bigger goals. And then time management, measured as the difference between planned and actual time spent studying. There's lesser discrepancies between planned and actual time spent studying, which positively affects homework. So if you plan to study for 2 hours a night and you actually study for 2 hours a night, you'll find yourself less frequently skipping on that planned time. And then students who had a goal for their exams performed better than those who did not. So if you want to achieve an A and you have that set in your head, you will find yourself more easily able to achieve that A than if you just go into the test not expecting anything. So lastly, you can evaluate yourself and your own time management. So if you find yourself frequently creating a coherent schedule for yourself, whether it be a single day or an entire week or a month, however confident or however frequently you schedule things for yourself, give yourself a score of 1 through 5. How strongly you adhere to that schedule. So how often and how frequently do you actually perform the activities on your schedule? How much time do you spend studying? So do you study for 2 hours a night, 1 hour a night, not at all, more than that? Give yourself 1 through 5. How often do you find yourself setting goals? Do you have a lot of goals, whether they be short term or long term, or not at all? Give yourself a 1 through 5. And then how strongly do you adhere to these goals? How many of these goals do you actually achieve? And then give yourself a score of 1 through 5. And then take those points, add them up, multiply by 4, and then take that out of 100. So if you have 100 out of 100, then you have perfect time management, although that's probably not likely. And if it's a really low score, at least you have an idea of where you can try to improve and be better with your time management. Here's my works cited. This is the article written by Jordan Thibodeau. And thank you.